So here's the daily heat map. Overall, pretty good day, right? A lot more green on the board than there is red. But let's talk about, first of all, big tech was pretty much flat, right? All the big tech names, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, pretty much didn't do a whole lot of anything. Semiconductors at first glance looks a little boring as well, right? Micron does what Micron does. Micron up another 2%. Micron's been on a tear recently. I mean, just I feel like a week ago, it was sub $50. And it's been putting together a string of green days. So up another 2%. So good on Micron. AMD was kind of flat, right? Close at 0.3%. But don't let that fool you because this heat map only shows trading during market hours. So stay tuned towards the middle of the video and I'll tell you why I'm a little bit excited about what's happening with AMD right now. Intel also kind of flat to kind of a good day, right? 0.8% up. But Intel is not having a good day, and I'll tell you why. Nvidia is not having a good day either, down 1.2%. Qualcomm's been on a tear as well recently. Had pretty much a flat day today, so great if you had Theta Gang plays on Qualcomm. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about AMD. So I have 200 shares of AMD that I owned or that I got assigned at $85 per share. I have a cash grid put that expires tomorrow at the $75 strike. I'm looking pretty happy about where it is today. If you saw my video from last night, you know I was basically hoping for a flat day or one green day between today and Friday, and I basically got both today. So I am looking pretty good that my cash grid put is going to expire worthless, knock on wood, as long as nothing crazy happens in the overall market tomorrow. So overall choppy day in AMD. I mean, we opened up green, so I thought, yes, we're going to have another kind of slow rally up day. Immediately sold off within the first 5 minutes of the market open. It feels like we do that every day now. We rallied again up until 10 a.m., which again feels like we do every day now. I feel like the pattern for at least AMD is we have a very drastic move in the first 5 minutes, and then we reverse direction up until 10 a.m., and then we reverse direction again. So knowing this kind of pattern, you can kind of time, if it works out, when to sell your covered calls and when to sell your cash grid puts. And this is exactly what I did actually earlier in the week when on Monday I sold my covered calls because it was right around 10 a.m. It was a similar pattern where we had a dip, we rallied up, and then I said, you know what, I've seen this pattern before. I think we're going to sell off again, so let me sell my covered calls at the peak. So I was able to get in and lock in some good premiums. I sold my covered calls at the $89 strike for $250 in premium each. So I was able to lock in some pretty juicy premiums by selling at this kind of early morning peak. And then again, we sell off and then we slowly rally for the rest of the day. This is kind of like classic AMD for the past few trading days I've noticed. This immediate sell-off, immediate rally, again, rapid sell-off, and then slow rally up or pretty much flat day. So I don't know. I mean, it works until it doesn't, but I found this seems to work more often than not, and it helps me time my trades a little bit better for what it's worth. Obviously, nothing is written in stone, and you can't time everything perfectly, but it served me well so far. Now, some of you may be looking at, well, AMD kind of this big power hour sell-off, right? 345, it went from about $80 to down to $79.30 in the matter of about 10 minutes. And then after hours, there's this gigantic spike. I mean, it went from about $79 and some change, basically mid 79s, all the way up to $81.50. Sold off a little bit, still climbing as we're making this video. Right now, AMD's trading at $81.37. It hasn't been in the 81s for, it seems like forever now. We'll take a look at the trading view chart in a minute. But we are actually up 2.5% just about after hours. We were only up 0.3% during the day, but we shot up to the moon after hours. And it's not really because of something AMD did or said. It's actually because of something Intel did. So let's take a look at Intel. The reason is because Intel had their earnings, actually they're having their earnings as I'm making this video. You can see this is kind of like the typical graph I feel like when a company has earnings, because AMD kind of does the same thing. The day of earnings, they trade super flat. There's no movement at all. And then everyone is just waiting for the market to close and for earnings to happen. And you can see Intel just fell off a cliff. So I'm going to pour one out for my homies that have Intel calls or have Intel shares, because Intel dropped, look at it, 10% after hours. The market closed on Intel at just shy of $54 at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Literally 5 minutes later, it was down to $48.75. It dropped from 54 basically to 49. It dropped basically 9.5% in the matter of 5 minutes because Intel's earnings were not good. People did not like what they had to say. Let's see if they've already posted it on Robinhood. They haven't got, oh, looks like they're pretty much hit their earnings. They estimated 1.1. They actually beat that. Actual was 1.11. So it must be because of their guidance. And this is what hurt them during their last earnings session too, was their forward guidance. I think people are realizing that right now they just can't compete with AMD. So it's funny because I posted this screenshot in one of the Discord servers comparing Intel to AMD, and I'll show you that right now. So I took this screenshot right after the market closed, and this is on the Thinkorswim platform. And you can see we have AMD on the top, Intel on the bottom. This pink line here is the VWAP, or the volume weighted adjusted price. And you can see that they're basically opposites. It's like there's a mirror right here. As Intel was dropping, AMD was rising. So that's why AMD popped after hours. It's because, unfortunately, Intel dropped after hours. And the nice thing is, I mean, like I said, AMD has not been above $81 for quite some time. Let's take a look at the TradingView chart on AMD. So here are the daily candles on AMD. You can see for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days, we've had 6 red days in a row. This candle is misleading because this only shows the trading during market hours. You can see this red dotted line is where we closed at about 79.42. This blue dotted line is where we are after hours. Right now, we're at $81.39. That is a big move for one reason, and that's because I have an area of what was once support at about $80 and some change. And you can see today, we basically stayed below that area of support the whole trading day. So it was basically going to be an area of resistance. Right now, after hours, we are above that area of resistance. So if we can hold there tomorrow and close the day above, let's say $80 and some change, that makes me feel better that this is now going to again act as an area of support, and that maybe tomorrow, or the coming weeks I should say, we're going to have a little bit of an upward swing. I mean, if any stock is poised for a big kind of turnaround next week, it's going to be AMD, because there's a lot of catalyst events on AMD next week. And that's because on Wednesday, the 27th, AMD has their earnings, as you can see right here. And then the following day, on October 28th, AMD has their BIG Navi GPU reveal. So I think AMD is set up for a pretty big week next week. And I'm really happy because I'm kind of winning right now on all fronts, in that I think my cash good put this week is going to expire worthless. So I'll be able to collect $26 in max profit on that for 1 week, or a little bit over 1 week of trading, I should say. And my covered calls are all the way up here at the $89 strike price. You know, I would be impressed if AMD can get to $89 in one trading week. I mean, tomorrow, let's say my prediction is tomorrow at market open, we're probably open somewhere in the like low to mid 80s. I think we're going to pull back a little bit after hours, come down to earth a little bit of profit taking. So that would mean basically that in just a little over a week of trading, AMD would have to rise $9 for my shares to get called away, which I don't think that's going to happen, because I think what's going to happen is, even if AMD has good earnings and a good GPU reveal, we'll probably have a run up on earnings Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then we'll probably have a little bit of a sell-off on Thursday, Friday, just because of the kind of buy the rumor, sell the news type scenario. So I think even if we get up to, let's say, 87, 88 early in the week, I don't think we're going to hold there for the rest of the week. So I think, and I'm planning on, my covered calls completely expiring worthless at max profit. And then I'm going to sell more covered calls for either the next week or 2 weeks out. So my plan is to sell covered calls, I think, a little bit lower to where the share price is, because one, I'll collect more premium, and also I'll be able to have my shares called away. I'm just a little bit scared with the market right now. The election's coming up, so I don't know how the market's going to react, and I'm trying to get rid of these shares so I don't get caught bag holding, because it seems like I kind of got these shares assigned at the top. I was assigned at about $85, and that's very toppy compared to where AMD is. I mean, its all-time high is around $94. I would love my shares to get called away, overall end up green by having my premiums that I've been collecting along the way, and then I could sell more cash ticket puts like in the mid to high 70s. And that way, again, if I do get assigned shares, I'm at a lower cost basis than I am right now. That's my game plan. We'll see what happens. But my best case scenario would be if on Friday, October 30th, AMD closes at $88.99. So it's 1 penny below my strike, so I keep my shares. And then the following week, I can sell more covered calls at like 88, 89, 90 if I wanted to. And AMD is still close to the money for where my options are. That would be best case scenario. I will say I was getting a little worried with this huge sell-off these past few days because we have not that many areas of support left, and then we have these two gaps to fill in the low 70s and the low 60s. My biggest fear was if we fill all the way down to the low 70s and I'm holding shares at 85, I'm going to be back holding AMD for maybe months, you know, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I do want to get my shares called away. I mean, who knows? My prediction, honestly, is that next Monday, meaning the Monday after my options expire, I think AMD is going to be trading in the low to mid 80s. So I will most likely, you know, if that ends up being true, sell my covered calls right at my cost basis at $85. That way I get to keep all my premium along the way and have a higher likelihood of my shares getting called away. But that's just my kind of 2 cents, not financial advice. Let me know what you guys think. While we're here, let's just take a quick look at space to see how that ended up trading today, because we had a big red day yesterday. You can see, you know, I kind of predicted, if you saw my video last night, that we're going to have a little bit of a green rebound day today, and we did. It wasn't that big of a rebound, but it was a green day nonetheless. I mean, space was up 1.4%, and like I said, this area around mid 20s and right where this 21-day moving average is, this orange line, is going to act as support, and that's exactly what happened today. It really couldn't break down below it. So that makes me feel better, but I still think we're probably posed for another green day tomorrow. Maybe get up into like the high 20s, maybe low 21s if we're lucky. But that's just my opinion on space based on technical analysis. I hope everybody had good trades on Intel and AMD. I mean, if you bought puts on Intel, you're probably making out like a bandit right now. But I don't care how you make money, as long as you're making money. Let me know what your plays were in the comments below. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. And happy trading.